very good Sunday school churches times here. And tonight reminds me 60 years ago, about the same time, Halloween. It was cold, it was dark, like Sterling said, and I thought to myself, how did we ever accomplish this? And to this day, I don't even know how we accomplished it. We were sitting in our home, and my dad said, there will be no Halloween tonight. He could never say Halloween. He always said Halloween. And he said, you damn kids Halloweening. You're not Halloweening tonight. And I said, yeah, bet me. Because what he did was, every night after work, he came home, he'd have supper, and he'd go to the register where the heat came out. And he'd play with his hair, and he'd fall asleep. And as soon as he fell asleep, I'm out the door, running towards Linda's store, meeting my friends there, going in the back to where the implements were, and looking for manure wagons. And there was one there that was about 20 foot long, had manure on it, had about a 10-foot stake, that's not what I'm looking for, tongue. It had like a 10-foot tongue on it. And we had approximately 9, 10 kids that pushed and pulled that manure wagon up past St. Mark's, up to High Street, down High Street onto Herm Nace's home, backed it in, pushed up on the tongue as hard as we could. All the manure that could come out came out. And I think he was in shock. But he wasn't in shock very long. He was only in shock until he got a shotgun. But we were pretty smart as kids. You know, we had sentries around, and we knew he couldn't come out the front door. He had to come out the back door. So I'm coming out the back door, and we ran as hard as we could. And, of course, he shot his shotgun. And I don't know, at that time, when I was young, I remember a shotgun with fire coming out the nozzle. I mean, it was unbelievable scary at that time. But we limited our Halloween to soaping windows, occasionally knocking over outhouses. If there were any outside furniture, we'd put it up on the roof. But mainly we took our copper wiring and our rosin bags and hooked it onto spouts and rubbed it. And it made this eerie sound through the house. And of course, people would come out and we lay it on the ground. They couldn't see it. They'd go back in and we'd continue that. Amysville showed me the value of friendship. Sterling said something about the bad things in Amysville. You know, there were no enemies in Amysville. We all loved each other. We all got along with each other. Will Rogers said, I never met a man I didn't like. This was true in Amysville. I never knew anybody I didn't like. What I miss, the old nicknames. That's what I miss. The old nicknames. Smoke Snellbaker. Skip Kahn. That's Schaefer. Ham Bixler. Smalley Bixler. Snook Bond. Boots Ruby. Huck Dahl. Huck Dahl. Gasoline Gus. Smowy. Does anybody know the family that lived approximately 3 doors down here on Broad Street that came in? It was a strange type of family. I don't remember their name, but the one street that came in, it was a strange type of family. I don't remember their name, but the one young person that was male was named Smowy. Smowy Strayer?
Yes, Smowy Strayer and his sister Donna.
They had fewer, they had more children, right?
Those are the two that was about our age.
Corky Fry. Doggy Brule. I think Bill Badiker named me Bonesy Kraut. I was little, thin, Bonesy Kraut. I also miss my close friends. Smokey Snellbaker, Dick Craver, Larry Bixler, John Rao, Skip Kahn, Bob Shaney. Bob Shaney lived way up over the, and he was a cripple.
Yes.
Vincent Seipel. Van Halen, the musician, composed and sang, "Where have all the good times gone? Where have all the good times gone? Long time passing." He really met me. But the good times, I can remember. Elmer Fink, new Oldsmobile approximately every year. The smell of a new car. And guess what? The light went on when he opened the door. The light went on when he opened the trunk. Can you imagine? I remember roller skating on the cement floor of the garage of Elmer and Mildred. At that time, we had roller skates that were all metal. They had a back, up the back, that you had your street shoes that you could just hook right into them. And then they had hooks on either side of the skate, and you had a key that you could turn it tight and fit on your shoes. It really didn't work very well on clodhoppers. Now they have mountain boots, they have desert boots, but we had clodhoppers. Clodhoppers with a metal thing on the front, and if you could kick something, like kick a football and go forever. I remember playing ping pong down in the basement at Fink's. We'd go there approximately every day, play ping pong, come home. One night I didn't make it home. I got hit by a car going across the street. But I survived, Things are okay. And then I went across the street to my friend Dick Craver. And I was sort of hoping Bill Baddicker would be here tonight because he was the brother-in-law. In other words, Dick married Donna. What I can remember about Dick Craver, he had this great motorcycle. There were very, very, very few motorcycles in Amesville. Dick was unique. He had a BSA. I want to tell you, it was fast. It was really fast. A couple of stories with Dick. I mean, he was my close friend. I rode with him. We'd go to Manchester, to Mount Wolf, 70, 80 mile an hour across the flat. Go to Mount Wolf to the movies, come back, dark as the ace of spades. 70, 80 mile an hour, coming back, standing up on the motorcycle. The great story, though, with Dick on the motorcycle was I used to hitchhike a lot. We hitchhiked. Now, today, what, hitchhike? Ugh. But we hitchhiked. And Dick worked on a farm, and you could hear him coming from the other end. I mean, it loud. And I was out front of the house hitchhiking. I thought, oh, no. Because I know what's going to happen. He's come popping up over the top of there where Schaefer's store is. And his headlight's going to pick me up. And he's going to come down and take me to North York. He did. Come popping up over the hill. Headlight hit me. He come over. He said, "You going to North York?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hop on. I'll take you on. I'll take you in." I said, "Okay." Get on the back of the motorcycle. Going up the Amesville Hill. Dick Craver was the best. He could handle that motorcycle. No question. 70, 80 mile an hour till we got to the top of the hill. Got to the top of the hill, we were airborne. And right as we come down, there was a car backing up from Huffman's Furniture Store. He had no choice. He had to hit the brake, it fishtailed back and forth. He got it in the center lane, and as he got it in the center lane, so we were missing the car that was backing out. The cars that were going north, I remember the bumper hitting my pants leg as it went by. I don't think I got on the motorcycle after that. Dick Craver's dad, Kervin Craver, had a Nash. How many of us would like to have a Nash? Charlie Flegel lived 3 or 4 doors up. He had a Lesap. What a great car that was. 8-cylinder flathead. Unbelievable. Al Swanbach drove Buick. Good car. Good car. Then you get to the band hall. The band hall where naturally we all had great music. Home of the carnival. Where we had lights streaming across the grounds. Stands that were built by the men. Had games and watermelons. And we had cakewalks. We had fun, good times. Sterling mentioned Schaefer's store, TV every night. Sit there on the cement floor watching TV. Patsy Harry, my first true love. EUB Church, where we've been down to. There was a family moved in, DeWitt Zeus. DeWitt Zeus. And we had a lot of basketball games there. Excuse me. Then we got down to Munda's Store. That's where we all went. Munda's Store. Greatest thing in Amysville. Went there every day. Every day. Munda's Store. Sat out on the bench. Pitched pennies to cracks that were in cement. Closest one won. Match pennies. Odds and even. We did that forever. Waited to Bill Mundus came out of the store. Take us in a panel truck to York every Tuesday and Friday. Didn't matter if it was 3 kids, 10 kids. He'd say, who's going to York? We all pile in the panel truck to go to York. Stop at Joe Burry's. Had hamburgers and french fries, 9 o'clock in the morning. Went to the bank. On the way back from the bank, stopped at the Penn Supreme. Had Sundays, potato chips, soda. Come back. Went back in the back of Munda's Store to where the feed bins were. Played hide the belt. Hide the belt was naturally hiding it anywhere you wanted to with a part of the buckle sticking out. And we would always say, you know, you're hot or you're cold. And one found the belt, and then he would try to hit you on the butt as you were trying to find a safe place. Ball diamond. Every day at the ball diamond. 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, ball diamond. Played ball with Bill Mundus. Bill Mundus was there all the time. Carrie, his mother, would come out and say, Bill, come back, come back. And he'd stay down there and play ball with us. We had the balls that from the games that were played on Saturday when, you know, like 200 people were lined up first base. Ball hit over the railroad track. Sometimes we retrieve it and get a nickel for it, or sometimes we stumped it so that we could have a ball play the next week. All depends on whether or not we had balls and bats. Bats they broke and we screwed and put tape around it. And Bill Badiker was probably our best baseball player in Amysville. He was our answer to Gene Snyder, Pleasureville. Of course, you know, Gene went to the majors. St. Mark's Church, like I said, I was confirmed here 60 years ago. I was probably 11 years old. That makes me 71. I remember coming here and sneaking out during Sunday school because I knew I had to come to church, you know. I'd sneak out and run up here to the fire hall. That was when it was on the corner. A pinball machine on the second floor. We played the pinball machine. It was great. Turkey suppers the women had. Down to the barber shop. And can't remember his name.
Which fry?
What was it?
Which fry?
Fry.
Right.
Gave us the greatest haircut in the world.
His name was George, but they called him Butch.
Quarter haircut. We had penny candy, grade A bars were similar to the Hershey bars, licorice, bubble gum naturally, and bolsters. Yeah, those two. Looking down, I'm going to get to the school. Looking down, Favels, paint shop. My first, well, it was actually a sign painting shop. My first job, sweeping floors, emptying waste cans, taking screens out of the windows. And if you were good enough, which I was, you know, you could sit around, goof off for an hour, get paid for 2 hours. It's my first job. And last but not least, it was the school. Sterling said it was 3 classroom school, it was. First and second grade by Mrs. Drawbach. Third, fourth, and fifth by Miss Fink. Sixth, seventh, and eighth by Mr. Drawbach. He actually liked me. He really did. He really did. Because our birthdays were the same. December 18th. My birthday was on the same day as his birthday. We called it lickings. Lickings? You know, I was a recipient of a licking by Mr. Drawbach. If he liked you, he hit you 3 times. If he didn't like you, he hit you 5 times. But he liked me, so I had 1. He hit me 3 times. He made a great mistake. He disliked, for some reason, Kenny Eshelman. Kenny Eshelman was not a bad guy. Well, of course, he was one of us, so he couldn't be bad. He licked Kenny every week. Every week. And one time Kenny said, "Would you mind not licking me today?" He said, "I have a boil. I have a boil on my butt." And I don't know if he thought Kenny was quicker than he was or if he really had a boil, but he decided to lick him. Right? Kenny went out that school crying. I mean, hard. 15 minutes later, you guessed it, Mr. Eshelman came in. Came into that classroom and said a lot of choice words. And I would really say them if I wasn't in the church. And I'm going to say one, not where's the preacher at? I'm going to say one. He said at the end, "If you lick my son again, I'm going to kill your ass." No more lickings. As long as I went to school, there were no more lickings. We were fortunate. We had a flagpole. We had a flag. Every morning we put the flag up. Every afternoon we put the flag down. And there were 2 boys that were assigned for the flag. And one day I made a mistake. It was stuck up in the top. And with me being the smallest and the shortest, they talked me into shimmying up the pole to unhook the flag so we could take it down, because naturally we couldn't go anywhere until the flag was down to, we folded it and put it back to where it was. And I shimmied up the pole, unhooked it, and someone said from, 30 feet down, 20 feet down, whatever it was, grab a hold of the rope and we'll lower you down. And unfortunately, Smowy was the one that was holding the rope. Smowy had to hold the rope. I reached out and grabbed it. My weight just took it right out of his hands, and I came down, hit that crossbar that you put the rope around, and landed on my shoulder and my head. But I survived. I came out of it all right. I think one of the things I really remember and which stands out in my mind of the school was sort of unheard of. Okay. In the summer, when school was over, we were out of our school in the third week in May. It was like May 18th or something like that. And everybody else was naturally getting out of school in June. We had like 2 weeks that we could roam, before the other kids got out of school. And I remember going home with my family and being able to do whatever we wanted to. That was the best part of Amysville, doing what you wanted to do. Thank you.